bring up the cameras, and we welcome you all to another beautiful Thursday night edition of Accessibly Live. I mean, it's beautiful out there. It's kind of a mess in here. We're constructing and moving some shifting things around in the studio, and yeah, it's a mess around here, but glad you guys could all make it. Good show tonight, I hope. I hope you guys like it. I am Joel K. This is Accessibly Live. This is the conversation station every single Thursday night here on Twitch TV. I knew I forgot to do something. There we go. Son of a... we got ourselves out of the cave and into the, it does always echo in the studio here once in a while. I just forgot to hit the button this evening. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, I always like that sound effect. If I was working down in a subterranean cavern doing a show, yeah, it'd work out great. But not in the studio here, especially when I got my executive producer sticks her head in and lets me know that the audio is suckola. We've got a good show. We actually do have a good show for you guys tonight. Like I said, it's cold and slightly overcast up here in way the far north. And I'm glad to have you guys here tonight. Really do. Got a couple things we're going to talk about tonight. We've got a couple new movies coming tomorrow. If you guys are watching this on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, we had two actually fairly good movies coming out this weekend. And one I still have not seen and don't want to see the predecessor. It's just because of being a purist. I'll explain that to you in just a minute. The other one, for the first time, I can actually say I'm intrigued by seeing this gentleman make a movie in a long time. It's been a long time since Braveheart that I've seen this actor do a movie that I want to see. That might give you a hint on who's coming up. First of all, have you guys seen the news this morning about, depending on your time frame, there's some crazy gal just got sentenced to, 9 years in prison for tampering with voting machines and that kind of stuff. She was one of these crazy deniers of the last election, and so she decided to screw around with the voting machines and give out the passwords to the machines, and, the judge said, yeah, you're not supposed to do that, and threw her in jail for a long time. And at her age, that is a long time. So I wish her well, wish her luck. I hope she makes lots of friends in prison. Haha. So lots of crazy stuff going on in the news. One of the things we're going to talk about tonight in the show is something that happened last month that they're just not here. No, yeah, I'm fine here. So anyway, my executive producer is saying we're frozen, and it's like it's kind of warm in here, so I'm not frozen. We are, I can see myself. We're going to talk about something we talked about back in March, that we had something huge happen middle of last month that was just announced. I think they're trying to get their ducks in a row before making the real announcement. But a breakthrough came in over at MIT, and we'll talk about that in just a few minutes. But let's get into the entertainment department of the show. And we have, as I mentioned, two new movies coming out tomorrow, Friday the 4th. And one of them, Joaquin Phoenix and the incredible singing, performing writer Lady Gaga are going to be in the sequel to the Joker, and opens tomorrow. Lady Gaga is going to be portraying in this part of the DC universe Harley Quinn, and she's playing it a little different than how Harley Quinn was conceived in the comic books and in the other branches of the DC universe. Um, uh, what am I got to say about this? This is the one I was talking about a little bit ago, guys. That I want to really enjoy the movie. I want to go back and see the first one, but I'm an old comic book purist, and I'm sorry. Um, there have been so much better Jokers out there. I mean, it's just not. I can't. I like Joaquin Phoenix as an actor. I love Lady Gaga as a performer. She's absolutely brilliant. The causes she fights for is fantastic. So for me, yeah, she's awesome. But the Joker genre that Joaquin and the director created, I'm just not a big fan. I'll wait till it comes out on pay per view, hopefully. But the idea between Joaquin's Joker meeting his match made in Arkham with Harley Quinn, who is originally supposed to be a psychiatrist who falls in love and under the spell of the Joker. This one is definitely different, and this one, it'll be interesting to see how this one works. A lot more music, a lot more singing. The one thing I am excited for is that Lady Gaga announced a few days ago on the Graham Norton show over in the UK is that she created a standalone album, kind of a jazz album with different levels of music and style that will be coming out as not a soundtrack to the new Joker movie, but a completely separate album with music that was influenced by her portrayal of Harley Quinn. I'm looking forward to it. I am actually looking forward to it. I need to talk to my executive producer, see if she was able to find it online and see how much it's going to be, and I might talk about and review it for next week's show. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Now, the other movie that is coming out this tomorrow is something I'm kind of excited about. Monster Summer. Starting 4 friends who, well, they discover some odd things going on in the town that they live in. Mel Gibson, the legendary Mel Gibson, Lorraine Bracco, who has been in more movies and TV shows than I can count, are the 2 main stars of this. Gibson is playing a retired detective with a few skeletons in his closet. No pun intended for the monster weekend, summer. And we see him dealing with some of the kids in town and how some of the kids are disappearing and those that are returning are not normal. And they get the old detective inspired to take a look into what's going on, and from that point on, there seems to be a lot more things coming after the kids and this detective. I'm excited to see this. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I'll ask my executive producer if she wants to tag along to see it tomorrow afternoon at the theaters. That way I'll talk about it next week on the show here. Now, my two recommendations for those of you who like the first Joker movie, go see it. I think you'll like it. Monster Summer, I should say. I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to that just because there's a lot of good suspense, good humor to it, and there's a couple surprises in the cast that aren't playing themselves, but if you once you guys see the movie and you see who they are, you might figure out who I'm talking about, and I'll talk about more next week. I don't want to spoil it for you. By the way, I hope everyone is having a good week in school this week. The old school teacher is going, have a good week and have a good year. Um, Switching gears from movies to television. For those of you who've been following on Disney Plus, Agatha All Along, the third episode dropped on Wednesday, and their next trial on the Witch's Road took them to a recording studio within a home. I'm just grateful that no one died in this episode, although Teen got himself cut up pretty good by being thrown through that studio control room window. It was a good episode. I am beginning to really, and if you guys are too, let me know through email. Let me know if you guys are following it through. If you guys want to watch more and get more of a rundown on some of the Easter eggs and that kind of stuff, Eric Voss on New Rockstars has been doing breakdowns of all the episodes. So go check him out. He'll give you guys more of an in-depth look at what's going on. Now, I got a question. Most of us, all of us, have at least one smartphone. Maybe two. Tablet, that sort of thing. I got just a show of hands, how many people at night will throw their phone on a charger and throw it in airplane mode, go to sleep and not worry about it so it charges up and charges normally? Or do you just leave it on in case somebody calls you in the middle of the night just to talk to you? No, I want my sleep. Sorry, guys, I want my sleep. Nobody's calling me after 10 o'clock. Heck with that. But have any of you who've put your phone into airplane mode forgotten to take it out? There has been a nice surprise. And I'm not sure when. I'm saying probably around September 1st. If you haven't looked at your airplane mode on Google, and you've tried to do a Google search and your message comes up as you are, offline. And of course, my phone is telling me that I have to take my phone off of airplane mode. I thank you. There is, and I know you guys can't see it here because it is a little, it's the best way of doing it this. Have you seen this little creature lately? If you haven't, maybe this looks a little better. Google has decided to create a new little game that when you're in airplane mode, when you can't have your phone on and when you want to play and do something just as a overall visual fidget spinner, you have a little game now, a new one. And it's ridiculously fun, stupidly easy to do. And just one of those things where it's like very addicting once you get to do it. I mean, it's simplistic 101. If you got little brothers or sisters, cousins who like to ding around on your phone, throw your phone into airplane mode, go into Google and go into the little game because it is a lot of fun. The object is simply this: to avoid the obstacles and to float. I don't know what the hell it is. I'm assuming it's a little cloud, and why a cloud would need a umbrella. It is not Mary Poppins, y'all. For those of you who got the reference, good job. Now, we all know that this is not the first time Google has created little things to put into your phone to use when you're in airplane mode. For those of you who know and have done it, and you know you've done it, there's our jumping dinosaur, or leaping dinosaur. As he's leaping through the desert, and you are offline, and you are jumping over cactus. Well, the little black and white dinosaur is gone, and we have color. We actually have color on the screen. For myself, not a bad thing. But I kind of miss the dinosaur. I don't know about you guys. I mean, this is kind of fun. If you haven't played it, check it out. It's one of those ridiculous little things that keep you active and keep you, right, somewhat out of trouble. Check it out. Let me know if you guys play it. Let me know what your high score is. Take a screenshot, email it to me. Here's my email. Guys, say hello. Joel K _OG at Comcast.net. Email me the screenshot, not of that, but of this, and let me know how your new Google Airplane Mode game is going. And yeah, that was just me dinging around getting 25 points. Not the best, not the worst. Now, we're going to talk about something. I like, you guys know I'm an old school teacher, so I like learning stuff and kind of figuring out stuff that I don't know. Everybody's learning. Everybody's trying to understand stuff. We are a world that deals with throwaway things. I mean, from bottles to containers with juice sauce in it. I mean, that's the only way you describe that stuff. That stuff in the Mio bottles, isn't it? Tin cans. I mean, paper cups. The whole 9 yards. Plastic wrappers. And it's getting bad, guys. It's getting bad. I mean, we are a throwaway world. We have got junk piling up in dumps, in the water, in the oceans. We've got stretches in the Pacific Ocean of piles of plastic all gathered together, and it's not good. It's no bueno, guys. We have got a lot of people trying to figure out what to do. I mean, it's to a point where our dependence on plastic increases, so does our inability to control the large amounts of plastic going into the rivers, lakes, oceans, and landfills. And guys, it is getting bad. But we can't, it's almost like a really bad addiction that we can't figure it out. Or we can figure it out, but we need to figure out how to deal with it quickly and efficiently. Because you burn it, melt it, you get these toxic gases that kind of fly up. You get BHF free plastics where a lot of the harsher chemicals are out, but it still takes a long time to break down. I mean, it's bad, guys. Like I said, it's getting worse. And the microplastics that they're making up stuff that's in our waters, yeah, it's there. I mean, it's everywhere, guys. It's been used originally in 2004, the term, but plastics in our water and our ground have been around since the 1960s. Yeah, right around when yours truly came into the world, kicking and screaming. But what do we do? I mean, honestly, do we stop using plastics? Do we go back to glass and metal, which is easier to recycle technically? You melt down aluminum cans and you remanufacture them. Glass, you melt down the glass and you remold the glass again. Is that the choice? I mean, honest question, guys. Is that the choice? Because the breakdown of the plastics is going into our waterways and going into two levels: microplastics and nanoplastics. Microplastics can be as small as a sesame seed. That's small, guys. Nanoplastics have been found in human blood, cells, and fecal matter. Poop! Ladies and gentlemen, poop. The idea is that not only is it getting into the oceans, but it's getting into the water that we're drinking. The tea that I have here, even though it is heated up, boiled to make my tea, there's a better good odds that there are microplastics in here. What do? How do we counter this kind of stuff that's in there? I mean, these forever chemicals that we're getting, and that's the term, forever chemicals that are always in the water and the air, come from firefighting chemicals, cosmetics that both men and women use, water resistant chemicals on clothes. Now, there's a company in Minnesota that does this, 3M and other companies who have made sprays and that kind of stuff that make your clothes water resistant. And that's awesome. That is awesome. If you're walking in the rain to work or to school, you stay dry. Not a bad thing. The shirts that you wear, there are plastic woven through the fabric. That's why if you burn it, it melts. It doesn't burn. They have been found, guys, water resistant chemicals on food packaging. If you guys get a doggy bag from, Joe's Crab Shack, or you get a job at Joe's Hot Chicken, which, by the way, if you guys have not been there, freaking awesome chicken. Anti-stick chemicals on cooking surfaces. This is why that's why they tell you to use the plastic and the silicone spatulas and stuff, because if you chip it, it gets into your food. And it's bad, guys. But there is hope. Last month, the MIT discovered something incredible. A membrane. A small, thin membrane. And no thicker. As funny as it sounds, no thicker than this plastic bag. No thinner than that, guys. A membrane that that was created from silk protein and cellulose, sugar that can clean from water an incredible amount of the forever chemicals. Now, as I said, all of this, all of this in your water, all of this that you drink, reality check, guys, you know, and I hate to say it, for those of you like myself who likes a good milkshake, likes ice cream, it's in the water that the cows drink, your your goats drink, camels, wherever you get your milk, there will be microplastics. You can get rid of it. I mean, microplastics don't stay in your body forever. You can flush it out if you are doing a high fiber diet, if you are, you know, sweating, you sweat this stuff out of your pores. You sweat this stuff all the time. It's in your sweat, guys. All of these microparticles, everything that's, around the world. They found it in Antarctica. If you guys get a chance, suggestion idea for you, and I forgot to make a screenshot for you. There is a ridiculously intense documentary out there. It's called Plastic Whales. It can freak you out a little bit if you're not prepared for it. It is a powerful documentary. It is one of those documentaries that will make you sit and go, holy crap, this is actually occurring. Imagine you're walking on a beach in Norway. Beautiful country. Scandinavia, the British Islands, and a pilot whale washes up on shore. And you want to know why this suddenly washed up on shore. So, as if you were a good marine biologist, you would do an autopsy on it. And during the autopsy, you open it up and you check the stomach contents. And the stomach contents are full of plastic bags. This is not a joke. This is not a made-for-TV suspense movie. This is real. They have been finding that because pilot whales and other whales dive down deep into the ocean, where the light is the greatest, that if they see one of their favorite foods, squid, floating, looking for their own meal, they will come up and eat it. Sometimes a plastic bag floating in the water, torn up a little bit, looks like the tentacles of a squid or an octopus. And a whale will eat it and do its best to swallow it. And it will get stuck in their throats and their airways, and they will choke and die. To see that in this documentary and to see what's being done is not only powerful, it's one of those that would highly recommend anybody, if you get a chance, to go and watch it. Go up on YouTube, check it out on Netflix or Hulu or anybody who does good documentaries, Amazon Prime, whoever. Plastic Whales. Plastic Whales is the documentary. and it is a hell of a watch. For us here on dry land, this is a major positive for us in dealing with microplastics, forever chemicals. This is what it looks like. 500 nanometers thick, 200 nanometers across. The image on your right is what it looks like. Bendable, flexible. As I mentioned, made of silk protein and cellulose. And the best part is where a lot of good ideas for filtration devices, and there are many. People like the company at Brita has done a bang up job to try to make these pitcher things where you put the water in and it goes through the filter. It does ridiculously well on filtering it. Not perfect, but it gets about 98%, 99% of contaminants, including forever chemicals and microplastics, which is a good thing. Or you've got something like this. This, if you're a camper, if you've gone camping, if you've been out, for those down who have been ravaged by the hurricanes down south, a lot of people are looking for these. These are life straws. What you do is you take the end off. You have this around your neck when you need it. Pull off the cap. And if you got a running stream and you don't know how clear the water is, you put that in and drink. And this, as an example, removes up to 99.9999% bacteria and 99.99 protozoan Christus. It removes particles as small as 1 nanometer. And it's BPH-free chemicals, so you're not inhaling plastics as you use the plastics. Future. For everybody who's down south, I'm hoping everybody is staying safe and well. Our thoughts to everybody surviving Helene and the next one that's coming down the pike towards them. I just wish they had some good, really good governors to take care of them, as opposed to those who've been cutting budgets on filtration and resources and that kind of stuff, and been playing games with the federal government, unfortunately. So my thoughts, everything in here and here for you guys who are down south. Saw something, one piece of something kind of positive. The rain over in Florida and Mississippi, that's been through Georgia, that have been devastating areas. Texas, an area of Texas had been dry, if I understood, and saw a video of something pretty amazing. Water was coming down this normally very dry bed, and gentleman was out clearing brush out, and he heard a small lamb bleating, not bleeding, bleating, the sound a sheep makes. And no, I'm not going to do the voice. I will not do that. As much as my executive producer is going, go ahead, do it. It's like, I will not do that. So he hears this small lamb in the water. He gets it, dries it out, takes it home, and a day or so later, once the water has receded, He goes back with the lamb to see if he can find its mother. Suddenly, you can hear the mother calling out for the little lamb. And all of a sudden, the lamb just takes off, and here comes mom around the corner. Beautiful view, beautiful sight, with all the tragedy and all the craziness going. Little bit of peace and something very cool out of Texas. Good on you, Texas. Um, so the future, with all the craziness, all the water, all the chemicals, just you got to be careful, guys. With all the chemicals and all the stuff in the waters, it doesn't kill you. Go to a big box store, get a pitcher, get a few dozen, filters, and enjoy and be safe. Do that. It's really cool. This is, like I said, Accessibly Live. This is the conversation station every single Thursday night live here on Twitch TV. And also, occasionally, I know a buddy of mine is telling me that I need to make my own channel just exclusively for this content on YouTube, because my other show that I do is already there, and I've been stuffing this in there along with it. I might just throw it in. What the heck? But I hope everyone's having a good day. I appreciate everybody stopping in whenever you guys are watching, wherever you guys are watching. I've had actually great people saying hello from Texas, northern Texas, western Texas. I've had people from Singapore, from Vancouver, from England. I've had people all over the United States. I've had people in Europe. I had somebody write in from a couple of weeks ago from Australia. I'm going like, very cool. It's nice to be able to have you guys say hello. I appreciate it, and I'm glad to have you here. We do our best. We've been doing this, it'll be 3 years, December 31st. We've been doing this show, actually, we did this show back in the late 80s and the 90s. For those of you who might, or go talk to your parents and ask them what cable access television was, that's what we did before there was this. Same SSDD, same stuff, different day. And the only difference is we could get away with a little more craziness on the channel until FCC said, no, you don't. So we've been doing this a long time. I had a buddy of mine do this down in this same show down in Missouri. And then took it out to Cali, and he kind of retired, and we started doing it again. So we've been doing this a long time in various forms and fashions, and we're glad to have you guys watching. We do a little bit of everything here on the show. This is the show where we do everything. You know, as your grandparents, you say a little bit of this, a little bit of that, you know, a little bit of fun, a little bit of craziness. We do segments. What I have always wanted to do, and I always do here, is I do segments where it's not just me yammering on about microplastics or Google games that are on airplane mode. By the way, I still want you guys to email me when you guys get a chance, because I want to hear how you guys are doing on that airplane mode version that's on Google, and see how you guys are doing. But we do a lot of different segments, as we said. One of the segments that we do is a segment called Did You Know? As an old school teacher, I just like learning stuff. I like finding out things that I didn't know. Kind of like this. Did you know that in a deck of cards, the King of Hearts is the only king without a mustache. Because in the heart of love, you don't need a mustache. Although those of us with a mustache, we might disagree with that. But yeah, I thought that was kind of cool. I never noticed that. When I played cards, it's, or you're doing solitaire or whatever, you don't pay attention. You see a king and clubs or spades or diamonds or hearts, and you didn't pay attention to the face. You paid attention to the symbol. So I have to pay attention a little bit more. But thought you guys might like to hear about that. Now, we normally talk about other things. Because I wasn't sure how long the segment was going to go with macroplastics, because there was so much stuff out there. We do a lot of other things. We always talk about sometimes music on here. We talk about movies as we did earlier. We do throw at you guys, by the way, really bad, and everybody calls them dad jokes. They're puns. They're a little bit of humor for you, just to kind of get you through the day or the week or the weekend. And jokes that even my executive producer will look at me like, why did you tell them that? Because it was funny. I mean, I have had to tone back a couple jokes because they were a little more risque, but it's like, fine. We won't tell them on the air. Yet. But we do have bad jokes like, there is a conversation that the great inventor Thomas Edison was also a great dancer. Did you know that? Did you know that Thomas Edison was also a great dancer? It was told that he was light on his feet. You might say that joke was a bright idea. Ha. I am Joel K, and this is Accessibly Live, the conversation station, every single Thursday night live here on Twitch TV. We don't play video games. We might someday. There's a conversation going on right now that there is something new that nobody seems to be playing on the other side of Twitch. I mean, you guys know that on Twitch, half the channel, half the side of Twitch plays video games. The other side is talk conversation. Well, I'm doing talk conversation for 3 years. I actually found a game that nobody's doing that I actually might do because it looks like fun. But it's mellow fun. I mean, I've talked about it a few weeks ago. And I'm looking into how to get her done here and what to use to get sure I get the game system up and going here on the channel. By the way, Halloween is on a Thursday this year. Verify something here. Yes. Halloween is on a Thursday this year. Now, we are planning something pretty big for Halloween this year. For those of you who really don't want to deal with weather, you can always go to a Costco or Sam's and buy chocolate and just chill out at home and do this, because, and I can't tell you until next week until we verify that it can be done, but we are going to do something completely different on the 31st, on Halloween night here. And we're going to repeat it again on the other show on Sunday night. That one will be interesting. That one will be a long show. We might actually have to start the show early to get her done. But I'm excited by this. I'm very excited by this. By the way, if you get a chance, because don't forget, we're not only doing this here, but we're now also doing this show and putting it on YouTube. Same address, same idea. Look up Joel K _OG. And you'll see all of the other show and a couple of these shows interspersed here and there. Just to kind of break up the monotony. And anyway, so if you get a chance and you are on YouTube, like and subscribe. And shoot for the moon. But definitely like and subscribe. Would love to have you do that. But as we said, we do lots of segments here on the show. One of the things we do is we do not one but two different quotes for the week. They are thoughts for you. And just random thoughts to make you stop and think. Because if we stop thinking, we'll be scarecrows out in the field, basically. If I only had a brain. And I found something, and we do one science quote and one final, more philosophical quote at the end of the show. The science quote for tonight, I found, and I kind of liked it a lot. Edwin Schrödinger. The scientist only imposes two things, namely truth and sincerity. Imposes it on them on himself and on to other scientists. The scientist only imposes two things, namely truth and sincerity. Imposes them upon himself and onto other scientists. Erwin Schrödinger. Schrödinger, if you have recognized the name, he is the one who did the theory of a cat in a box with an open vial of poison or radioactivity. And the idea is the cat is both alive and dead. And at what point is it alive and at what point is it dead? And how do you know if you can't see the cat? Yes, I know, it's perfectly understandable. Still not to me. That's why I have a much smarter executive producer out there who keeps me out of trouble every so often. Every so often. But we're going to take a quick break. This is Accessibly Live, the conversation station. Every Thursday night here, live on Twitch TV. And we will be right back right after this. And with that, oh, hey guys, I just realized my music's missing. Oops. Somehow, my music got deleted at my breakpoint. That's not good. Not good at all. Dang it. I guess I'm going to have to fix that for next week's show. Sorry about that. Usually there's music at that break point, and I looked over, it's like, where's my music? And it's gone. So we will fix that next week. Now, as I mentioned before, I like learning stuff. A little school teacher in me likes learning stuff, likes being able to challenge the gray matter up here to make myself learn something really cool and discover things that happen not only in the world, but on specific dates in history. Like we always do for the show, every Thursday night, we do a segment called This Date in History. This one is actually kind of cool because for my executive producer, this would have been a very important time for her mom. And for a friend of mine who works at one of the big box stores down in the Twin Cities, something very cool for both of them. And that, on this date in history, October 3rd, 1990, East and West Germany became one Germany. Thanks to Helmut Kohl, the Chancellor of Germany, and the leader of Russia, allowing the unification of East and West Germany into one Germany. You see this picture of the Brandenburg Gates, the point where history was made and unity came to a split country that was split for way too many years after World War II. One great country, Germany, within NATO, on this date in history, October 3rd, 1990. Now, one of the things that we do here as well, other than throwing things like history and that kind of stuff at you, is we do one of two shows. This is one of two shows that we do here on the channel. Because I want to keep busy. My executive producer likes to keep me busy. And so we do this show. And on Sunday nights, live, like we're doing this live, we do a second show. That show we do here live, and then that show we also put over to YouTube. But the show on Sunday nights is a little more unique. Like I mentioned earlier, I am an old school teacher. I'm also a writer, published poet. I like reading. I like books. I like full spectrum books. And for me, I like getting my hands on something that is amazing. Sorry, guys. I just heard the soundproofing in the studio is supposed to be really good. However, I just heard my executive producer sneeze really loudly out there. So it was like, yeah, that kind of cracked me up a little bit. Back to the other conversation. We do a second show here on Twitch, which is known as Accessibly Live, the book club reading room. Now, what we do there is different and unique. What we do is we read. It's none of the little segments that we do on the show here. But what we do is we get a hold of a book and we will read the entire book in sections. So, like the book we're currently reading now, it's 25 chapters. A long book. But we're breaking it into 4 chapters, give or take. Um, and we try our best to make sure that we get through in a timely manner several books during the year. Because what I want to do is give you guys something that people are trying to take away from you. You guys know as well as I do that there are really stupid ass people out there trying to ban books, trying to burn books. There's a crazy pastor down in Tennessee that decided to tell his flock to go burn books. And so they did, much to the annoyance of a lot of librarians. The stupidity of certain states trying to jail librarians if they don't if they find a book that's not supposed to be on a shelf in a library. When I was growing up, if I didn't want to read a book, I would pass it over and read something else. If I didn't want to read a book, I wouldn't read it. If I wanted to read a book, I would read it. Because why? It's my choice. It's your choice. No one in their right mind has the right to tell you guys what you can and cannot read. So for me, I take one of these fingers on my hand and raise it up high when somebody tells me that. Because it's not their damn business. Like, there's a certain governor who's running for a higher office right now who came up with the quote on a hat, which is really, really prominent. It's like, mind your own business. Because that's the way it should be. But what we do on Sunday nights is pretty awesome. Because on this week, or this recent book that we're doing, on Sunday nights this week, on Accessibly Live, the book club reading room, we are continuing the next chapters of the H.G. Wells classic, The Island of Dr. Moreau. It is a really good book. There was a good movie, really well done movie back in the 70s based on the book. Can't remember the actor. The actor who is the director of Spies in Austin Powers was the lead actor in that movie. Can't remember, but I'll think about it next week. But that's the book that we're in the process of reading. And if you want to play catch up, all the books and all the chapters that we've done so far are on YouTube right now. Just look this up, Joel K _OG. Like and subscribe, guys. Just like and subscribe, and you guys can watch the show. And the one thing about this show here that we do is the fun part. We do it as chill as you want it. You turn off the lights, crank up the sound a little bit, lean back, and just let me read. And let me stumble occasionally on a word or two. But you just kick back and listen to the story. Think about it the way when you went to the library, the school library or the public library, and the librarian would gather you around and they would read a story and show you the pictures, that sort of thing. Same idea. No pictures on most of these books, but we read to you. And it's kind of fun. Speaking of fun, as I like books, I like words. Big words, small words. Words that challenge my mind to something that I want to understand. And we do a segment here that's called Word of the Week. And this one fun word. A fun word that you could use anytime you want, and when you use it, it will make complete sense, especially in the context that you're using it. Because the word of the week this week is serendipity. Serendipity. It's a noun. The occurrence and development of events by chance in happy or beneficial way. Fortuitous. An odd coincidence. I ran into an old friend I hadn't seen in 20 years at the bookstore, and we were both looking for the same book. That was quite a bit of serendipity on our part. Serendipity. Fortuitous. Odd coincidence. Good word. Good word for the day. If you guys are working on class projects, papers, projects, slip it in. Slip it in if it works. If it's correctly used, and surprise your teacher. Who knows? Maybe you'll get a nice little comment from him or her about your use of it. Good on you. Now, I do programming here on Twitch and, yes, on YouTube now. And I am one of millions of people who do programming on YouTube. I am just one pebble being dropped into a pond, making waves, and trying to have people come back and say hello. Hello. But there are people who have been doing programs on YouTube longer than I have, and people on Twitch that have been doing programming longer than I have. And what we do is we highlight a programmer on either channel or even beyond and give them a little thumbs up and say, hey, they've been doing a great job. For example, our programmer for this week really keeps busy. You wonder how he keeps busy with kids and a wife and running multiple shows simultaneously. And I mean multiple shows, because our programmer for the week, this week, is the legendary Simon Whistler. Now, you may not recognize the name. You might recognize the first name from some of the shows that he does. But Simon Whistler is busy. He's busy 24 hours a day. He has done all of these shows. He is doing all these shows. Keeps him out of trouble, I guess. Brain Blaze, Into the Shadows. Today I found out top 10s. Decoding the Unknown. Mega Projects, Side Projects, A Casual Criminalist. Biographics, Geographics, War Graphics. Yeah, I kind of wonder about the phrasing on that one. Highlight History. Simon Whistler is the Energizer Bunny. He has more energy and it keeps going and going and going. His work is outstanding. He is thoughtful. He is credible. He does, and his people that work with him do their legwork and look at all the things that go into a show and don't leave a stone unturned. They are good. He is good. All of these shows that Simon Whistler does, I highly recommend. Brain Blaze, Into the Shadows. Today I found out Mega Projects is a lot of fun. From great building projects like the Three Gorges Dam in China to the space shuttle to everything in between. By the way, just to mention that all these shows and many others are on YouTube. But did you know that YouTube and Twitch TV can be found on smart televisions? It is true. That is true. You can watch them and enjoy them. So if you're bored like I am of doing stuff only on a phone or a tablet or even a computer here, download the app onto your phone from your phone or download it onto your television. Go to the Play stores or the app stores for your TV, be that Samsung, Sony, LG, what have you, and download the app and watch it there. That way it's a little bigger picture. Hey, me and a bigger picture. Ha! All right, yeah, not a good idea. But check it out. It's kind of nice to be able to do. In about just over a month, switching gears here for a second, we have got something huge coming. We have got every 4 years, like we do, we've got people running for president, governors, Senate, Congress, governors, local races, and you got crazy morons running. You know, that idiot with the orange is doing his best to make life miserable for a lot of people, and we'll see how that turns out. But for voting, please don't forget, it is your right to be able to say, I want this person to do this, or I want this person not to do this. Or, you know. But voting numbers, phone numbers, if you have questions on anything, if you guys want to take a quick screenshot of this, these are your phone numbers around the United States. That if you have questions, you call them. Be that in Chicago, be that in Texas, Tennessee, the Dakotas, Montana, Alabama, Alaska. These are the numbers. Go to votesaveamerica.com to get this information and so much more. By the way, a reminder too, these are the specific deadlines for both mail and online voting. Arizona, Delaware, D.C., Florida, Oklahoma. You notice that some of these don't allow you online, which is kind of sad. North Dakota doesn't do either, which is very sad, but it is North Dakota. Not required by mail or online. Not available in Arkansas online. Idaho, Illinois, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Vermont, Texas. October 9th, guys, next week. For our guys down in Texas, Wyoming, Missouri, Minnesota, October 16th. These are the times. These are the deadlines, guys. Oops. Jumping the gun a little bit there. We are getting ready to close down the store and throw up the close sign for another evening. One of the last things we do here on the show is one final quote for you. And sometimes it's an elaborate quote. Sometimes, like tonight, it's simple. Very, very simple for you. And something I found that helped with you guys who are going to school, both high school junior high, college, working on grad projects, whatever you're working on, be that work in any kind of setting, be it a box store or a restaurant, deli, wherever. It can get crazy. This time of year, there's a lot of stupid people out there being complete and utter jackasses. And when you find yourself lost in the darkness of despair, let hope be the light that guides you home. And when you find yourself lost in the darkness of despair, let hope be the light that guides you home. It can be a nutsy, crazy place out there, guys. And it can get tough. Been there, done that. I do remember the days before when college was ending, when I was going through tough times at school, be that college, be that post-college master's program. Work when you stop and go, what the hell am I doing? And you begin to wonder and you begin to question. And then occasionally you get somebody who gives you a pat on the back and gives you a good ear for you to talk to. Because sometimes we all need that. Sometimes somebody that you know could use a good ear or a good sit down and be able to vent. We all need to once in a while, guys. I do. You do. My executive producer does. We all need somebody that we can lean on, that we can trust, have faith in, and make sure that they won't screw us over, that we trust implicitly. And we all need that. We all need that. We all need this, guys. And when you find yourself lost in the darkness of despair, let hope be the light that guides you home. And I hope it does. This is Accessibly Live. This is the email. JoelK_OG@Comcast.net. Send me an email. Let me know where you guys are watching from. Say hello. Bonjour, konnichiwa, ni hao, howdy. Or, if you know sign language, hi. We're going to get out of here. Be well, be safe, be kind. As I mentioned, be there for somebody once in a while. If somebody is struggling at school, friend is banging their head against the wall on stuff that's going on at home, take them aside, say, hey, are you doing okay? We need everybody. We all need each other because there's way too much crazy garbage going on right now in the world. I mean, we got a new temporary moon encircling the Earth, which is really kind of cool. I mean, if the Earth can find themselves a little temporary moon, maybe you can find some temporary help to kind of find your way. We're going to get out of here. You take care. Be well, be safe, be kind. Look out after each other, guys. And we will see you all next week here on Accessibly Live, the conversation station every Thursday night. Live on Twitch TV, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. And occasionally over on YouTube as well. Take care, you guys. Have a great night. Bye-bye.